In John chapter 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Is that it? And the end. I'll keep going. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has made. In him was life, and that life was the light of men. The light shines in darkness, but darkness has not understood it. There came a man who was sent from God, and his name was John. Prior to that, Jesus stepping on the scene. First of all, we all know in John 3:16 it says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever shall believe in him shall not perish but have everlasting life." God came because he loved you. Jesus brought light into a dark world. And Jesus said, and at the time when Jesus was walking on the earth, he could only be at one place at one time. His light could only shine in the place that he was at. So he decides to lay down his life. He decides to be crucified, to be beaten, and he dies and he's rose from the dead. And now he has given us what he had inside of him. So now the same light that shined in Jesus has an opportunity to shine in those who receive him as Lord and Savior. So he came into a dark world and he left. And today we live in a world and in a society that is extremely dark. Look at your school systems. Look at where you're at. Look at your friends. Look at the ones that you kick it with every single day. Look at the ones that you bump shoulders through in the hallway. Let me give you an idea of where we're at in the world. Go ahead. You can cut them. This is the world. This is where we're at. In this time of darkness, and in everyone's life who is living in darkness, this is where fear grips their life. This is where they're unable to take a step to the right or to the left. The only place that they find safety is curled up in one position because they don't know which direction to go in. Darkness has consumed their life. And darkness is where you find abortion and immorality. And darkness is where you find sex and pornography. Everything that consists in darkness and everything that you live and abide in, if you're outside of God, there's someone in here that has been dealing, I'm not even going to say exactly what it is, but you know I am. God is touching your life right now. And I'm telling you from the voice of God that God is going to deliver you tonight. You've become too accustomed to this darkness. This is where you find your safety. This is where you find your hope. This is what you live in. Light. Hear me. This is where the world is at. And the only way for God's light to shine is through me and you. The only way for this world to change is if you and I step up to the plate and let our light shine. Initially, when you encounter someone with light, they're drawn away from it. It's too bright. So they run from it. They're worried that it's going to expose their sin. They're worried that it's going to expose the areas in their life that they don't want anyone to see. So they try to cover themselves up with charisma and joking. They try to cover it up as though they got it all together. But when they lay their head down at night, they're miserable. You can turn them up. I've come to speak to you and to let you know that what you contain on the inside of you, someone needs. How many of you love your father and your mothers and your brother and your sisters? And if any one of your siblings had a sickness and you had the remedy for it, would you not give it to them? If you held the remedy in the remedy for AIDS, would you not give it to someone who had AIDS? Would you keep it for yourself? Well, you have the remedy for sin, and his name is Jesus Christ. What you get here on Tuesdays is an opportunity for God to fill your life. You're getting the tools that the world needs. Basically, what Pastor Sam does is adds fuel to your fire. So when you go out in the world, you're able to shine. But some of you have become ashamed to let the light of God shine through you. You don't know what to say. You're worried that sometimes if you say something, someone might make fun of you. You're worried to let your actions be different than those ones that you've grown up with because you don't want them to reject you. You've dealt with rejection too long, so the last thing you want is for your friends to reject you. But those people that you're brushing shoulders with every single day need you, and they need what's inside of you. You can't expect Pastor Sam to reach your friends. It's not going to happen. You can't expect me to reach your friends. It's not going to happen. You're the only one that can touch your friends and the people that you're surrounded with. And I have news for you. Tomorrow is not promised. Next week is not promised. Today's the only day that you have. And if, God forbid, something happened to one of you, and you had to look Jesus straight in the face, because that time no one will be around you. It'll just be God and you. Your friends won't be there. Your family won't be there. It will just be you and God. And he's going to ask you, what did you do with that light that I gave you? You held the remedy to death. What did you do with it? No excuses at that time will be acceptable. I was embarrassed. There's an accountability for what you receive here on Tuesday nights. Whether you take it and use it for God's kingdom, or whether you keep it to yourself and be selfish. I thank God that a man was not selfish in keeping this message of Jesus Christ to himself, and that he shared it with me because I so desperately needed it.